Tonight, we say no to Wayland, for now.
Lenovo's fingerprint reader gets reverse engineered.
Pulse prefers USB.
And Venn tells us about the life of Ryzen.
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to Linux Weekly Daily Wednesdays, where myself and Pedro Mateus sit back, relax, and kind of just talk about some of the cool things we found going on in the world of Linux. This week is no exception by any means. What's up, man? How's your Linuxy Wednesday going?
It's actually not been very Linuxy. I mean, it's all Windows or iOS all the time at work. Can't really play around with the Linuxes all that much unless I take laptop with me.
Mm.
So,
do you have, are they penguin phobic there, or?
They're not. In fact, they are very much looking at the possibility of starting at least the low-end systems within the NHS, the ones that aren't mission critical, starting with those and seeing like the feasibility of it, which is, I'm guessing, probably has a lot to do with why they hired me. And I've been doing my best to sell them on that idea. So we'll see, because yeah, they would actually need that. Not just because of the security and all that, but because the hardware is it's a bit old. Mm. This is the NHS we're talking about, so...
Well, I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, I don't think you should kid yourself. I'm pretty sure the main reason they hired you is because you're adorable. But also, okay. Maybe you could talk them into getting a little Wayland love for once.
I don't think I could even talk a Linux user into Wayland right now, at least not if they like playing games. So, this comes from Make Use Of. A controversial website. Every now and again, they like to rip people off. But yeah, this is an article discussing the feasibility of using Linux with Wayland. And they actually do an alright job of at least getting most of the caveats out of the way, and then just saying, okay, so you may actually have some
NVIDIA graphics may not work.
Here's the thing. That's a bit deceitful, because the NVIDIA graphics will work just fine in Wayland mode in GNOME. Probably KWin as well. I don't know if KWin has finished the EGL stream implementation yet, because that's the big snafu with the NVIDIA drivers and Wayland right now, is that the people behind Wayland want to use GBM, that's generic buffer management. And the people at NVIDIA that have been doing driver stacks for years they said, no, EGL streams is the best way to do it. And the people at Wayland said, no, we're going to do it our way. And NVIDIA said, well, then good luck with that.
Now, wasn't there a thing? I think we covered it on our the Linux Gamecast Weekly, our Saturday show, about NVIDIA not wanting to include, wasn't there some type of half-step, a shim, like X-Wayland?
Yes, there's also X-Wayland, which will require, X-Wayland at this point absolutely requires generic buffer management. That's the only way it'll work, and since NVIDIA doesn't support it, well, then you're not getting X-Wayland, which means that if you're trying to run a game that's not SDL2, that can't generate its own window in Wayland, well, then you are kind of boned, so to speak.
So, I mean, I guess that answers my serious question in the notes is, Wayland's still kind of a tinker toy in 2017, and that definitely makes me a sad panda.
Yeah.
Got to give credit to Fedora, though. I mean, they're trying to get it out there, but I do believe for at least the foreseeable future, step one of Fedora installs is switch back to X, maybe?
Yeah. And actually, I just want to bring up the fact that one of the caveats that they mention is you can't use Redshift. Now, if you don't know what Redshift is, it's that thing that sort of mutes the blue in your monitors when it gets dark. So it's got a more reddish tint, which is supposedly easier on your eyes. That has a legal scientific background to it. These glasses right here also have like.
I'm very grateful it doesn't have an illegal scientific background.
But yeah, these glasses right here also have a teeny tiny blue light filter because these lenses are meant specifically for people who spend a lot of time in front of screens. But as someone who spent over an hour hand calibrating these two IPS monitors to make all the colors look right, to make all the colors look balanced, to make all the colors look good, as an IPS screen can, people who use Redshift both anger and confuse me, because you don't really want to screw with your color balance, especially on an IPS screen. Okay, let's mute all the blues. All of a sudden, all of the reds are blown out like crazy. So don't.
Okay, up next is this thing, which,
Yes.
I don't even know what to say. I'm not going to play this, but at the top of their web zone is a looping 3-second YouTube video. So you know you're in for a treat, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, Studio Elite 13.37, the most advanced digital audio workstation. They don't finish that with anything, which they probably should. But this is the latest release. Pedro, I didn't even know this thing existed. Apparently it has been around for a while. It's a sophisticated USB-based DAW studio. It's supposed to be like comparable to Pro Tools. I mean, they have a comparison.
They advertise it as a studio on a flash drive, so to speak. You can just load after you buy it, of course, you can just load the ISO and use a real-time kernel. It uses a real-time kernel, so I hope you're not planning on doing anything that requires GLX acceleration if you have an NVIDIA card. But yeah, it's a studio on the flash drive. I'm not entirely sure how they're handling persistence, if they even handle persistence at all. They don't just mount your internal hard drive and say, look, there's your storage, save things to there. But it just loads the operating system. No, that sales pitch is so bad.
$49.99. Wait, there's more. Order now. And
yeah, for our audio listeners, you really should click on the link in the show notes for this story and watch the video.
It is a genuine trip back to like 1996. It's kind of brilliant. It kind of is, man. I mean, the web zone is straight out of the 90s with all that. Listen, I'm kind of interested. $50 is, I might pick up a copy just to say, all right, what is this thing? Because I'm always interested. I'm very not interested in it only being available as an ISO or a thumb drive, because all I'm hearing is, oh, dedicated box. Okay, brilliant. Well, that. But
yeah, if it's something you want to use professionally, you want to have a dedicated box for it. One you don't touch.
For the audio, no. You can get me that on like setting up for video editing and all that. But audio, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, you would know. If anyone here would know, it would be you.
Yeah, but see, I have this nasty habit of like, I don't know. I don't try to pretend I know something I don't, man. So I might shoot him an email, tell him, because there's no demo.
Nope.
And this is something, it's not even about the money. It's like, I kind of want to poke it with a stick, but they do say money back guarantee, but I'm not that guy. You know, if I buy something, I mean, unless it just refuses to work, and if they ship me something on a thumb drive that refuses to work, then I would send it back. But that would be the only case. That's just the thing I wanted to let everyone know about. But this thing, questionable use, maybe? I don't know.
This is, someone's effort to reverse engineer the fingerprint reader in Lenovo laptops. And their goal, it's actually the reason why this is in the notes, and thank you, Artheron, for suggesting it. Their goal is to create a generic lib fprint driver, so you can use all the fingerprint drivers with the same generic driver, regardless of which laptop you have around. And that is a really good idea. And if they can do it,
this fingerprint readers, this thing's used, I think, in like Lenovo's, HP's,
a lot of different computers, some Clevos. That one that I got, which I'm pretty sure that was in fact a fingerprint reader, which just wasn't working. There are quite a few laptops, especially from the mid-high range to all the way to the high-end laptops. They come with fingerprint readers nowadays. And if laptops are to be sold with Linux preloaded, yeah, maybe getting this to work is a good idea.
Well, it'd be easier because I was doing a little bit of research, just reading around with this. Perfectly honest, unless my job required me to have a laptop and use a fingerprint reader, that would just never get enabled. Did the fingerprint reader work on that demo unit they sent you from Enterware?
Nope. No, it did not. The Kratos did have one. It was the yellow thing right in the middle of the two clicks below the touchpad. But no, it was disabled.
It was disabled.
Yep.
Not really my thing. I don't believe I would ever go. But then again, don't listen to anything I say because I don't even lock any of my tablets. And there's tons of personal information. You're going to have a field day if you get a hold of one of those. I mean,
yeah, no, I keep my my phone that I actually use regularly. That one has encryption. It's got the passcode and everything.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's good things like this exist because then you can give it a recommendation, from open hardware, and maybe Stallman will feel more secure with his open source.
Yeah, completely floss fingerprint reader. Why not?
I think that's pretty cool. Man, I should have put this right after the audio thing, but our favorite thing in the world, Pedro, has a new release, and that's right. We're talking about PulseAudio. 11.0 is out. It's got a couple of things. One thing that you put in there is the default sync and source configuration is remembered better, to which I retort, better. Because, listen, I have a fistful of DACs plugged into this box that we're currently recording on, and guess what? I mean, true story. The first thing I do every Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays is reset input levels. That's just like that's the first thing you do when you start the box, so you don't forget. So you're not getting ready to do a show or a game stream or something like that, and somebody's, I can't hear this. Like, of course you can. And I think, Pedro, you've seen situations where it is like more Russian roulette with what level you have.
Yep.
Right?
Every now and again, it doesn't happen always, but every now and again, I'll start Skype and my input volume, it usually remembers that it's supposed to be 50% on the recording stream, the actual audio stream that Skype creates, and 60% on the device. It leaves the device alone at 60%. It's the audio stream on Skype that just 12%. Now you can't hear me. Good times.
It's always a weird thing. I might install this and play around. Because definitely one of the issues I have with PulseAudio that is irritating is if I put the computer into hibernation, you basically have to do PulseAudio kill.
And let it respawn?
Yeah, I have to get it to start back up because one or two DACs, even if it does, it'll get them in the wrong order and it'll set the wrong default. I mean, it's like, you tried, little buddy. You just didn't do a good job at it. And one thing I really want to see in PulseAudio is just a simple one-click button and PAVU control, which I know is not PulseAudio, but might as well be, for the interface. If you don't know what PAVU control is, download it and install it. You'll thank us. Just one button to lock input and output levels.
Oh, yeah. Actually locking them.
Yeah.
So they move together. Yeah, that would be nice.
And I've read through their mailing list, and it's like they're not even against it. They're against the fact that too many people want that feature.
No, Leonard Pottering doesn't want it, so it's not getting in. He doesn't see the use for it, so it's not getting in.
Jeez, man. Fortunately, we tracked down, you could probably do a search on our web zone. What was it? It was a Perl script that will, for most Debian-based system, well, actually, you can adapt it to anything.
Everything, yeah. You could just change the...
It'll lock you, and you're like, well, why is that really an issue? You don't encounter it because you play video games. I play video games. I'm not saying play video games in a bad light, but, listen to YouTube videos and stuff like that. But as soon as you start working, especially with WebRTC and companies that don't put in the option to disable auto gain control, AGC,
Google is very guilty of that. They could have it in the browser, but they don't.
Yeah, Jitsy's, that should be an option, and it's definitely not there. Among that, one of the other features is better support for Apple Play, which I'm guessing is a thing.
No, they also have fixed input device handling on Windows. Today I learned that PulseAudio works on Windows.
All right. Then again, you joke about that, but every time I see somebody, especially if I'm watching another show, like I'll see my buddy Josh on PC Per, and they'll be having an audio issue. I don't know what the audio control looks like currently in Windows because I haven't played with one in probably over a decade. But all I can remember is like the speaker icon with one slider. Like, what do you do?
You pray, basically, that Windows recognizes whatever application you want to control the volume individually as a separate stream. Because if not, well, there's nothing you can do about it.
Because I just was like, no, you open the application, you go to this, you select it, it's like open Pavu control, go to inputs and pick the device you want and close it, and you're done. That's kind of that. Hey, man, let's have a chat.
Yep. And you can chat in 2017 style. Everything looks neat. Everything looks flat. Everything looks like it's made from
It is
cardboard.
pretty, but they just released a study that said people are 20% slower using flat designs.
Yep. So I'm guessing whomever was behind the flat design is really happy that he gets to be a bit lazier nowadays. But this is Konversation 2. What have yous. It'll be coming in 2018. The folks at KDE have been looking to update Konversation for a long, long time, and it kind of needed it. The old interface looked very much like someone had the MSN Messenger interface described to them, but never actually saw it. And it kind of worked about as well as you'd expect. Now they're actually doing something that's proper, or at least it looks proper. But then again, with a flat design, that's easier to make. So again, lazy. But it's good to see Konversation coming, to the 21st century.
Okay, Pedro, you got to help me out. I've been out of the K-verse for well over a decade. Looking at this, is this just a glorified IRC client?
It supports more than IRC, but yes, it also does
Okay,
IRC.
so it's one of the everything
Pigeon.
in one.
Yeah, it's kind of like Pigeon, but for Qt.
I totally went through that phase. It seemed like there was that phase in my life, those years. It was like, oh, let's have the all-in-one. Now I kind of like spreading everything back out because I guess monitors have gotten cheaper, and I've got a lot of monitors. And I'm like, this monitor handles communication, and it made a lot more sense. Like when I was stuck on like a 15-inch monitor because screen real estate, you wanted everything in one, but now it's going to spread everything out. How are you on that situation?
Well, I have two, and right now, as we're recording this, they're both full, which means I need a third one, but the one I want is really expensive. I thought about getting like just a regular 16:9 2K one, the 2560 by 1440, but I want one of the big ones. Not a 4K, but the 21:9 3440 by 1440 with G-Sync and all the I think that one has 100 hertz refresh rate, but it costs £1,000. That's why I haven't bought it yet.
This is the whole thing, man. See, that's going to make me jelly because it's not that I want a new monitor. Nay. Stupid widescreen monitor. It's 1080p too. You're like, that's stupid. I'm like, I agree. It's again, it's FreeSync, but you don't even know. I know. I know, trust me. And so, yeah, I'll definitely be jelly of you. But you did say this was available as a Flatpak, though, right?
It is. Well, it's not available yet. It will be as soon as they have the... you can clone the Git and build it to what it currently is right now. Of course, it is very much alpha state. They will have a Flatpak ready to go at some point in the near future. And the big thing is that they also support the decentralized matrix network protocol thingy, which is the big thing nowadays.
Do you want to elaborate on that? Because that sounds like a bunch of scientific mumbo jumbo. I'm a little confused.
No, it's the matrix network. We actually talked about it last week. There was one of the bits of software we talked about. I can't remember which one exactly, but it also used the matrix network. It's a decentralized network protocol that, well, it's what that's good for. It's just decentralizing a service. So it's a network that lets you do that. I think it's free for the most part. So as long as you integrate it with it, you're good.
Pretty cool. But hey, man, with the Flatpaks, and speaking of that business, this is kind of just to mention that FlatHub, we've talked about it before, but now they have the super advanced thing called buttons on their homepage.
Yes.
No, it's still really...
zero AD.
Imagine a world. It's definitely there. It's kind of easy just to pop over there. Flathub.org. All this is in our show notes, by the way, at Linux Gamecast, if you're listening after the fact.
Steam is there.
Steam's there. Vesnoth, Audacity, Atomic Takes, Blender, Blockout, Bluefish. What else? Oh, Discord. That's good to have there. Actually, there's a good use case for Discord being there. I like that. FileZilla. Yeah. Get it.
Nautilus, if for some reason you want to run Nautilus non-natively.
Yeah. Inkscape, a lot of good stuff. This is a good way to go. That needs categories already. I can tell you this. Yeah. But no, I just thought it's kind of cool, man, because we all know snaps are the future, and this is just a way for us to save our Flatpaks before their untimely demise under the crushing heel of the Ubuntu monster.
Canonical would really like everyone to believe that snaps are in fact the future. No one else seems to be buying into that.
No, man, everything's the future. It's the beautiful thing about Linux. It is the beautiful thing about Linux. Somebody was asking you on the YouTube comments when you were doing that video on that gerbil, man. It's like, what are you doing running that dock with whatever? The only correct answer is that's because I can. Right?
It's just a panel with a dock embedded into it. It puts everything in one, and it stays to the side.
Right. That's why I don't understand people getting strung out in, desktop manager wars. It's like, mine's the best. It's like, I like a little bit of that, a little bit of that. This a la carte desktop manager is a lot better, because that's kind of what my XFCE is after I get done beating it into the proper degree of ugliness. So, real quick.
It still looks way too pretty nowadays.
It does. It's a bit sad. Listen, you're talking to a guy who genuinely lost his ass when XFC added desktop icon support. I was like, what is this? Windows? Might as well just get a Mac. And that's a true story, ladies and gentlemen. So, I talked about this on Saturday. And I just wanted to give a brief recap of the Ryzen box, because a lot of you kicked in. I'm sorry, what?
So jelly.
I would actually trade places with you these past 5 days, but you'd probably just be a steaming pile of nope on the ground because I have not been sleeping much. Anyway, just to let everyone know the progress. Let's see if we can get in and out with this in just a few minutes. So what do we have? This is the big thank you to everyone. Tomahawk, the memory, the Ryzen's, Actually, I bought the hard drive container things. That's the case. Here's everyone: Bradley, Jill, Steve, Maddie, Erod, Michael, Mikkel,
The
Mr.
fine
Red,
upstanding
Ponkia, Steve-O, and Admiral JT. There it is. Using the stock Wraith Spire cooler, the MSI motherboard. Everything's legit. No issues. That's with the 2 video cards in. Power supply. Blah, blah. Red Ring of Death. All right, AMD. Really?
Taking pot shots at Microsoft. Why
I'm
not?
just saying, man. That's culturally ingrained in IT people. It's like, that's the Xbox logo.
That's the Xbox logo when the Xbox is dead.
Out of the box with some basic clocking. This is going to be in the notes. The memory, the Corsair Vengeance memory will almost hit 3,000 out of the box. It will probably be fixed in an update. At 3.6 gigahertz, we finally got to 3.7 stable. Basic gaming stuff. This is Hitman. This is 1920 1080. Everybody might like this business. What were the... There's probably a benchmark in here somewhere. 55, 88 on average. So that's definitely a thing at 1080. What do we have? Serious Sam, 103. Ironically, It's always 103 if it's 1080 or 3840 2160. Serious Sam, BFE on these are both Vulkan renders, 128. Yeah. So, out of that, I'm going to be doing a video later on about getting the actual sensors up and running with the MSI Tomahawk B350. Because that was irritating not having temp sensors. That's kind of scary, especially with a new build. Motherboard.
Well, it is a new chipset, so
it is a new chipset. They're doing good. I mean, it's a very good budget board that allows overclocking. It doesn't see the NVMe drive in its BIOS to save its life. So you just got to take a leap of faith when you do that installed. Stock heatsink and fan, that Wraith Spire, that thing's legit. It performs roughly the equivalent to a Hyper 212. I'm running 3.7 gigahertz at 1.25 volts. That's the thing. I do want to say a little bit of a pro tip from old man Venn is AMD says a good place to start clocking is 1.3 volts. No, it's not. Not with the stock heatsink and fan. That's probably why your overclocks are trash and it's not working. You really want to stay under 1.25 right in there. That's perfectly stable here unless I just won the Silicon Lottery. Nice and cool. Doing everything we're doing right now. 48C. Not too bad. Updated to kernel 4.12. No issues there. Ubuntu 17.10. Worked out of the box. What do we have? 16 threads. Audio video encoding. Handbrake. OpenShot. KDN Live. Blender. You name it. Jaw-dropping performance. Gaming at 3.7 gigahertz with a 980. It's passable. Here's the thing. I know a lot of people bought it thinking they were going to get some game extreme. It's like, it's going to be night and day difference, man. It's marginally better. You can play all current titles, I think, at 1080p. If not on Ultra, definitely on high at 60. But yeah, don't expect anything that's going to be crushing it anytime soon. So, that's really all I got about that. I like it. Hopefully it's going to let us do some really cool things. Like mainly right now, you'll notice that we are streaming at 60 frames a second for the first time.
Oh, look, you can only see 30.
It's, well,
on my camera.
Oh, yeah. Don't worry. I'll just double your speed, man. Don't worry. There's a way to do it. Hey, before we get out of here, well, actually, before we get to a slice of pie, we just want to thank everyone who has made this show possible. You know who you are, because we like to heap praise upon you relentlessly. If you like what we do, think about heading over to linuxgamecast.com, hit that support button, be like, hey, man, these yahoos kind of make me laugh. Or they're not completely always wrong. Every single time. We got some affiliate links. We got a little wish list for some nicks and some knacks for the studio. We got some donato buttons. We even have some of that newfangled Bitcoin stuff. I heard it's going to die any minute now, so send us all of it before it's worthless.
It's depreciated like crazy.
We do want to thank all of our beautiful party patrons kicking in. Currently $207 a week. That's allowing us to do...
We closed out the month at 200.
That's right, baby. That is right. So we're going to be doing serious thing. Hopefully by the end of this week. it is kind of brilliant. We do 4 shows a week on that budget. We would like a little bit more budget. We do have some neat goals. We got some neat rewards. We got some credits, access to our Discord server. That's where we hang out the other 6 days a week. And show note access. You name it. It is in there. We love you for it. Yeah, without you guys, this just wouldn't be possible. So
yeah,
definitely.
literally, we would not be here right now if you lot hadn't kicked us enough shekels to say, okay, so they want to see more of us. Here we are,
saving us from ourselves.
Crazy people.
we would be sitting there nervously with a bottle of whiskey and a copy of Windows 10 shaking. So you have helped prevent that. I do want to thank. Hang on. As he does the maths on whether or not this is going to read. We got a mystery box last week on Saturday show.
Ah, yes.
Somebody had picked us up something for our wish list. If everything falls and I disappear, just don't worry about it. You just keep the show going, Pedro.
Yeah, so there is a bit of a wish list on the support page. And if you don't want to kick us some wet stickies, you can buy us stuff. The actual stuff, what we need for the
It's kind of boring stuff for the studio. So, but hey, check it out. Not this, all of it. But hey, these are like 3-meter long USB cables and some insulating curtains for the new. We just wanted to.
Those look tinier than they looked on the actual wish listing.
Well, they're folded like 3 times, dude.
Oh, okay.
Do you think this is just it right here?
No, I was thinking like folded in half, maybe. It's like, that's really tiny.
This is very thick. Anyway, the only reason we just like give everyone a mention for this, and because Mike G, he kicked
Michelle
this in,
G.
And hey, man, thanks for that. I told him I was going to thank him relentlessly because he deserves it. Man, that curtain's heavy, man. And these USB cables, you don't think about things like this existing until you need them. And we're going to be able to do some product shot cams and over the shoulder type stuff because yeah, that'll be cool. Thanks, man. Wow. What do we got up next? We got a little bit of pie, right?
Yes, we do.
Let's see if I found
the first one.
There we go.
Yeah. Ooh. That's some fleshy pie.
Really? Because that was the laziest one yet. What's in the box?
This is a pie in a box. We already had talked about something very similar to this not too long ago, but Stephen, who is one of our Patreons, left us a story suggestion, and since we didn't have a whole lot of slices of pie this week, we figured, yes, let's talk about it. So this is basically your DIY or AIY assemble it yourself artificial intelligence, and by that they just mean it's the Google AI, what do they call it? Google Assistant?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can literally shout, okay, cardboard box, and get like the weather, get the news, play some music, what have yous. It's literally a Raspberry Pi AI companion kit. I don't know what to call it.
Hey, man. I mean, it's kind of neat. I mean, basically, it's going to let you put the Google Assistant into a prefabbed cardboard box with a big button on top of it. That's the important part, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Without that big button, this would just be another silly project. This one is what really sets it above the rest.
Needs to be a red button.
It could be a red button. If it was a red button, you'd have to get out some duct tape and just put it down like that. I just wanted to say muffin button, and I think that would be brilliant. Currently, there's some pre-orders at MicroSitter. Get a free AnyVoice kit with the purchase for Raspberry 3, 35 wet, stinky American caches. That's kind of bundled, or in-store pickup $24.99. That's it. That's kind of neat. That's something I want to play with. This would be perfect for classrooms. We like to include stuff like this, especially for like, yeah, you can give this to some 5 or 6 year olds and not worry about them coming up with AI that will kill it's not going to go full Terminator Genesis on you.
Oh, but you will be listening to the same kid's song from that one cartoon over and
don't
over
worry,
again.
they'll make it say things like punish. And I'm telling you, Google, You want people to start using the Google Voice Assistants outside of their house? Because, listen, I use it all the time in the house when no one's around. I talk to it all the time. Sometimes just try to play with it. But if you can just make it say, operator, matrix
yes.
Make it say operator and release the next Google Pixel phone with that click flip down thing. Yeah, done. We're good. We'll use it all the time. Okay.
Operator.
One more slice of this. You snuck this in here.
Yes, I did. Well, I snuck this in at the start of last week almost. This is actually from Martin Wimpress because he went to OggCamp 17, which happened a couple of weekends ago in... Oh, wow, I forgot where it happened. It was here in the UK somewhere. It was down south, and this is a proper player for the Raspberry Pi. Now, I can already hear you shouting from across the way. What does this have that VLC doesn't? Well, glad you asked. According to Martin, he actually had a chance to... Well, he's actually had a lot of talks with the developer, because, according to him, if you compile VLC on the Pi with OpenMax or MMAL support for the hardware decoding, you could only play videos in full screen and you could not get any overlay GUI controls. Like, say, you wanted to just wiggle the mouse and play and pause the video, or say if you were using the Pi with a touchscreen, just tap the screen and then pause it there. You couldn't get that. You just couldn't. But with, what do they call it? The OMX, or the Tomax player, you can. You can. It's free and open source now because, according to Martin, and I quote, the developer was going to keep it closed source and charge for it. But Ubuntu Mate sponsored the development so that it is now free and open source. Because that's one of the things that Martin does with the wet stinkies that he gets from the Ubuntu Mate Patreon, is every now and again he'll sponsor the development of a project to not just help the developers, but if it's something that Ubuntu Mate also stands to benefit from, then hey, it's a win-win.
Yeah, it looks neat. It definitely looks like it would be adaptable to a touchscreen, or more friendly than VLC to a touchscreen. But Coiled Rattlesnake is definitely more friendly than VLC to a touchscreen. Than
even the Android version's a bit flaky.
That's the thing. I kind of got to look at it like this. Just real talk. I've never hooked up a display to a Raspberry Pi.
I usually do just for the initial setup, but that's it.
Nope.
I'm lazy.
Lazy? You're the one plugging in displays.
I have two loose HDMI cables within arm's reach and two monitors with two HDMI ports each. So yeah.
I'm on the couch with my tablet. All right. That's definitely a thing.
That wraps us up for the slice of pie.
Does it get that? Did we get any feedback? Yeah, I think we got one.
Oh, yes, we did. One teeny tiny bit of feedback. But if you'd like to make sure we don't close this out without reading some of your feedback, because we like hearing from you. We just spent the last however many minutes screaming at you, so scream back at us. We like it. Sometimes. If you pull our hair. No, wrong show. You can actually leave some feedback, throw some constructive criticism, just insult us, if you will, by going to linuxgamecast.com. You hit the contact button, you fill out the forum, just make sure on the little drop-downy box you pick LWDW, Linux Weekly Daily Wednesdays. That's what it stands for. All right, this one actually didn't come from that. This was a reply to it was a YouTube comment in reply to one of the bits of feedback that we had last week. Yes,
week before last. Like I said, yeah. YouTube. We get around to YouTube comments. That's...
Yeah, it's this is in reply to that person who said that the PPAs would make your What was the name?
Man. PPAs are hard, and there's some that Windows got down. You just install it and hope the files go where they need to, and hope they get uninstalled.
Yeah,
when you
everything was one exe install, and that's how you get viruses. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he also threw some shade at the PPAs. And Cody, he's in chat realm right now. He says, what you need is a distro that is not a slave to PPA nonsense, because in Solus I can literally do all that in the software center with one click, no PPA needed. It sounds like you fell into that Ubuntu trap of things are not up to date enough without in Ubuntu, so you had to force yourself into PPA nonsense, seek an alternative distro like Solus, maybe, or something that can be up to date and not need crappy PPA garbage that have the up to date software. Punctuation, man, punctuation. Sorry, Ubuntu fans, but the PPA is over. It's wrong. It's time to get into 2017 mode. Commas, periods, use them.
Sudo apt install grammar.
Sudo apt install punctuation, man.
I don't know, man. PPA is here to stay. I mean, PPA is, if you've been with Linux, they just kind of came out of, it's not that they came out of nowhere. They went from, that's a thing, to, no, that's the thing. And everyone's adopted their own version of that. On Fedora, you have Copper. So. Yeah.
And Arch already had the AUR.
Right.
Let's see. Solus doesn't have PPAs because, hey, guess what? Solus supports both Flatpaks and Snap. So if you want something that is not in the official repos, go find a Flatpak. Go find a Snap.
Well, I mean, yeah, I remember the dark ages before we had dependency resolution. And, like, going to RPM phone or whatever.
Yeah, PP1.
Downloading, like, an RPM. The process was you downloaded what you wanted. RPM, IVH.
Oh, yeah, Suzy has open build service.
Open build service, yeah. And, yeah, I don't want to go back. I remember using an early version of app. We're talking, like, maybe 2001 on Fedora. That was a thing. Because I remember that was the first time I had ever seen dependency resolution. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, Yum was kind of leading the way in that day.
This was not Yum. So much. This was apt.
What? Oh, yeah. Yeah, they were using apt. Yeah. Yeah, that was a long time ago. Admittedly, I only started using Fedora with the Fedora 5 or 6. So, yeah, that was already Yum.
Okay. Hey, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Again, it's Linux. You use what you want to use. I'm lazy. Now, here's the thing. If I want to install something, yeah, it's usually apt install, and it's like, is that available? But then again, then something like OBS or FFmpeg or 4.12 kernel that I needed to do some pokery with yesterday. No, I mean, I'm going to download that, do what I need to do, build it from source, get it installed, Bob's your uncle and all that. That's last resort. Or, hey, man, check this out. We're going to have snaps. We're going to have Flatpaks. We already have app images. So it's an embarrassment of riches. Kind of like each and every one of you who watch Linux Weekly. All right, come on. Let's get out of here. It's been kind of brilliant. Thanks for showing up, watching us live. If you're listening after the fact, that's cool. Keep in mind, there's a video component to this show. If you're watching the video version, there's an audio MP3 with a custom RSS feed at linuxgamecast.com. You can put that in your podcatcher. We're on like Stitchers, iTunes, Google Play Music. You name it. It's quite terrifying where they let us go. If you ever want to get in touch with me, I'm just at Venstone. I just type Venstone into Google. You'll find me in all those places. I'll usually get back with you.
All right. And if for some reason you want to get in touch with me, google.com/plus Pedro Mateos. Trust me, you'll find me. That's also after if you have a G+ profile, you can use just that and then find me on the Hangouts. I'm usually there if you poke me with a message. If I see it, I will get back to you. No promises.
No, I'm just trying to figure out if I could get a way to, if we can still do like a Google image bomb of like the Spice Girls with Pedro Mateos. That's something for next week, ladies and gentlemen.
Not in short notice, no.
We'll see you then. Goodbye. Because this is where the credits would be rolling. And Yep, look at those
Well,
credits.
you didn't ask me to remind you to put in the credits. So now the people who are watching in post, yes, there are credits.
Well, there's all kind of credits. See, that wouldn't have helped you out because I haven't had time to make them.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah, that was an update. Yeah.
You know, that's why I kind of like looked at you a little snippy and sideways. You're like, I'm jealous. I'm like, dude, I've been going at 11 at race car in the red since like 3 this morning.
Still jealous you have new toys.
Yeah, the new toy thing, when you're operating at that pace, when you're doing the YOLO conversion to get everything up and running, that shiny and new wears off in like the first 7 hours. No.